Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is What If Naruto x FemKyuubi x Hinata x Anko x FemHaku Part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. You fail. The verdict kept repeating over and over. Again. I failed again, thought Naruto bitterly. No matter how hard I train, I always fail. The boy, Naruto, entered his so-called home. It was not much, it was really not his fault. He had tried to care for his apartment, but villagers always broke in and messed it up. So he gave up. He gave up the same way he gave up on being able to buy food, equipment, clothes and other things. Naruto didn't consider himself a genius, but it was clear that he was only able to buy low-quality, overpriced goods. It was clear that people were out to get him. I won't give up, all. Naruto's words were silenced by a kunai in his heart. Die, demon, snarled the assassin. Why? Wondered the boy, why am I hated? Why do these things happen to me? His questions were interrupted by darkness. XXX. Naruto woke up in a dark sewage. What is this place? He wondered. Hearing something in front of him, the boy walked towards it. He stopped in front of some huge bars that had the kanji for seal on them. Naruto looked up at two giant red orbs of fire that opened. Those are eyes, he thought, they're so big. A giant fox head lowered towards him. Greetings, Kit, it said in a surprisingly feminine voice. Hi. Naruto chewed his lower lip in confusion. What is this place? This is going to take some time, Kit. Since you managed to come here, I think I should explain everything. Okay. First, I am the Kyuubi no Kitsune. What? He shouted in surprise. Shut up and listen, Kit, she snarled, making Naruto gulp in fear. You were told that the Yondaime killed me, but no mortal is able to kill a demon. Instead, he sealed me inside a newborn baby, you. This is why the villagers hate you. They look at the prison and see the prisoner. So this is why they hate me? He asked in a depressed voice. Kit, pull yourself together, said the fox in an annoyed tone. I will not have an angsty, whiny brat as my container, do you understand? Yes, gulped Naruto. You are not guilty of my mistakes. Is that understood? The Yondaime actually wanted you to be seen as a hero for keeping me sealed. Me, a hero? Yes, foolish of him. Naruto lowered his head in disappointment. Don't bow your head, Kit. I did not mean that you are not worthy of being a hero. I am saying that it was foolish of the fourth to have faith in the village. Immediately after I was sealed, the council voted in favor of killing you. Thanks to the third, you were spared. Since that day, there were numerous attempts on your life. You do not remember most of them. At first, they tried poison, but due to my presence, it was not a problem. Then they sent assassins, but they were stopped in time. And then, there were the beatings from the villagers. I am at the end of my ropes, Kit. I am sick and tired of healing your broken, malnourished body over and over again. Naruto nodded dumbly. Why are you helping me? If you die, I die. You said that no mortal can kill you, said Naruto suspiciously. Ah, yes. If you are killed, I will disappear from this world. I'd rather stay here imprisoned than go back. Back where? It doesn't matter, Kit. It is enough if you understand that I want you to be as healthy and strong as possible. Okay. I am willing to make a deal with you. I will teach you to the best of my abilities. I will willingly give you part of my power. I will help you accomplish your dreams. All I want in exchange are some creature comforts in this dank cell. I am also able to experience what you feel, through your senses, that is, if you allow it. I want to experience the world outside once in a while and I want to be indulged from time to time. I'm not going to kill for you, shouted Naruto horrified. Foolish Kit, what need do I have for blood? Are you as foolish as those villagers? I am talking about food, relaxing, a massage or something, running through the forest, simple, pleasures of the flesh, maybe reading a nice book. As it is now, I am dying of boredom. What few things I can perceive through your senses is quite unpleasant. You did not have a nice life. I want you to allow opening the connection between us more. This way, I will be able to perfectly feel what you feel. Just think about it. You do not need to decide now. Okay, I'll think about it. But first, I have some questions. Naruto thought that what she asked was not too much. He was actually surprised she didn't ask for more. Go ahead, Kit. Ask me anything. I may not answer some questions, but I promise you this, I will never lie to you. Why did you attack the village? Actually, they attacked first. I was in a long sleep and they attacked me while sleeping. I retaliated in kind. But did you have to keep it up? From what I know from the academy, you had days until you reached the village. Why did you continue the attack? Foolish Kit, I am a great demon. They dared to attack me in my den. I only retaliated. As you said, they knew I was coming here. They had enough time to flee. Had they done that, I would have done a little property damage and left. But they dared to attack me again. Do you think I needed days to travel to Konoha? I could have done it in hours. Greater demons are supposed to be viewed as natural disasters, but they dared to stand in my way, and I was foolish and got myself in this situation. Naruto thought for a while, thinking carefully over Kyuubi's words. If what she says is true, then she is not as bad as I thought. True, she is not a paradigm of innocence, but she is one of the few people to treat me with kindness. And she appears not to lie, unlike the old man. You said that the village council tried to kill you and that people tried to kill me. How do you know that? I can experience what you experience, though it is very faint. That is why I said I wanted the connection between us to be more powerful. I'll be able to fully feel what you feel. And I'll be able to talk to you while you are awake. If I accept this bargain, how can I be sure you will not betray me somehow? That's a good question. You may not know it, but if a demon swears something, he cannot go back on his word. Again, he said suspiciously, what guarantee do I have? You could be lying. You will just have to take my word for it. I am afraid I have no way to prove it, Kit. Fair enough, Naruto sighed. I suppose I'll have to accept this. What about our deal? What do we each get from it? You said you would teach me. Do you know any cool jutsu? He asked excitedly. I know many things, but human jutsu is not amongst them. I have never needed it. Naruto looked crestfallen. Don't worry, Kit. I only said I am unfamiliar with human jutsu. I am not without knowledge. I actually know one. It is very useful, actually. It will prove invaluable in our training. Naruto's eyes begun to shine. What? I'll teach it to you later, she cut him. There are other things more important. Tell me, Naruto, how well can you read? Naruto reddened and looked down shamefaced. I'm not that good. Don't worry. This is the first thing we will correct. You should have learned by now, but your teachers tried to sabotage you. It's a wonder you are not even more of a babbling idiot. Hey, at the glare he received from the Kyuubi, he sighed. You're right, I'm not the smartest person around. That's because they didn't educate you. Don't worry, I will correct your deficiencies. I intend to have a strong, intelligent container. Thanks, Kyuubi-san. Don't mention it, Kit. Even though I am not familiar to human jutsu, I understand the theory quite well. You could say that I am as knowledgeable as the Hokage. And I'll be your private instructor. Naruto beamed in happiness. I'll finally have someone to teach me, he thought. I will freely share part of my power and I'll help you fulfill your dreams. I will protect you to the best of my abilities and I won't do anything to harm your friends. What I ask in return is rather minor for you to give. As I said, since this is your mind, I want you to redecorate this place in a suitable manner. A sewer is not my idea of a home. I also want you to let me access your senses more and I want you to indulge me from time to time. As I said, nothing harmful, just pleasures of the flesh and mind. Naruto nodded. Okay. Another thing, if you accept this deal, it is possible that you will receive some of my demonic traits. What traits? He asked cautiously. Nothing too major. Increased physical and mental abilities, enhanced senses. Also, it is possible that your appearance will change slightly. How? I am not sure. You'll probably have claws, longer canines, red eyes, fox tail and ears. But won't people hate me more if my appearance changes? They'll hate you no matter what. Think about the Inuzuka. They grow fangs and claws too. Is there anything wrong about it? Are they evil because of it? No, of course not. Are you going to become a bloodthirsty monster just because of a few physical changes? No, but they'll think. Who cares what they think? Interrupted Kyuubi. Should you really care what small-minded, bigoted people think? No, but, if you saw a child with claws, fangs and a tail, would you consider him a monster? Or would you treat him normally? Kyuubi left Naruto think for a few moments before continuing. You see, one day you'll find someone that will see you for yourself, that person will truly be your friend. They'll care for you even if you are different. Naruto nodded thoughtfully. She's right, he thought. Why should I care what those bastards think? So, you accept? Yes. Very well, we have a deal. One more thing. I would suggest keeping this secret as much as possible, even from the Hokage. Tell him as little as possible. Why is that, Kyuubi-san? He is the Hokage. I believe he has your best interest at heart, but his duty to the village comes first. If he thinks you are a danger because of me, I do not know what he will do. Okay, I'll trust you on this, Kyuubi-san. But if I change physically, he'll know something happened. Yes, eventually he'll figure it out, but not now. It will take some time until the change takes place. When that happens, tell him you met me and that you received the changes so that your body would be harder to harm. Naruto nodded. When you wake up, if you want to talk to me, do not talk out loud. I will hear what you are thinking. If the villagers find out you are talking to me, who knows what they'll do. Naruto nodded again. He finally observed red chakra flowing towards him, through the water. What's this? Our deal, Kit. I am giving you a bit of my power and you are opening your senses to me. Beside an increase in your physical abilities and chakra capacity, your senses will be a few times better. We're about done here. It's time to wake up. XXX. Naruto opened his eyes. Sitting in a chair beside the bed, the Hokage was looking tired. How long, old man? 3 days, Naruto. I'm sorry. You said the same thing last time. If there were something I could do, I would. Kit, I have an idea. Naruto looked blankly at the wall for a minute, listening to Kyuubi while ignoring the Hokage. Maybe there is, Naruto finally said. Oh, did my mom have a house? Why do you ask, Naruto? I want a house. I want a home where I can make sure I won't be killed by assassins. It doesn't matter if it's half collapsed. I just want a place for myself. Sarutobi thought for a few seconds. I should have done this sooner, he thought. This is the least I could do. She did not, but if you want a house, it can be arranged. There is a property. It's a little out of the way and nobody lived there for more than 20 years. You'll have to work a bit if you want it livable. Thanks, old man. Anything else? No. Very well, Naruto. Wait a bit. I'll be back in 15 minutes. XXX. Half an hour later, they were in front of a house in the middle of the forest. The property is quite large. You even have a small lake. The house is not in such a good condition. Don't worry, it is perfect. Interrupted Naruto. Thanks, old man, said Naruto happily. The Hokage pulled a scroll and gave it to Naruto. Here, sign this. Naruto signed and started to give it back. Sarutobi shook his head. No, it's yours now. The scroll represents the deed for the house and property. He then gave a bag to Naruto. This is for the house. Repairing the house won't be cheap. Come to my office if you need anything else, said the old man to the shocked Naruto before disappearing in a swirl of leaves. Well, this went well, said Kyuubi. We have a house and money. Let's go shopping. Shopping? He thought depressed. I know you don't like it. And I know why. That is why you'll transform into someone else. This way, they won't overprice us or give up bad goods. Huh, why didn't I do this until now? You're the best Kyuubi-san. I know. Now, let's go. Naruto transformed into a nondescript brown-haired boy and went to one of the better shinobi store. XXX. Oh, hello, how may I help you? Asked the store owner. He's so polite, thought Naruto as he entered the store. Last time I came here, he threw me out. I want some clothes and equipment. Naruto wandered through the store, letting Kyuubi check the clothes. Finally, Kyuubi decided on a black Anbu uniform. This is the best, Kit. It's comfortable, gives good protection and it would look good on you. Nodding, Naruto dressed in one of the uniforms, and took 3 more spares. We'll need a mask, said Kyuubi. Looking in the mask sections, Naruto's eyes fixed on a black mask. Unlike most Anbu masks that depicted an animal, this one was a blank human face. It did not have an smiling expression, nor a frowning one. It was just blank. This one, Kit. Naruto put the mask to his face, but he did not have any way to make the mask stay on his face. There was no clasp, nothing. Channel some chakra into it, said Kyuubi. Naruto did so and the mask suddenly stayed put. It was as if it was glued to his face. Opening his eyes, Naruto smiled. Wow, I can see through it as if it is transparent. Of course, Kit. If they weren't, Anbu masks would deteriorate vision. If that were so, nobody would wear them. Since they are transparent, they do not impede vision, they make you anonymous and give a small measure of protection. After taking some shuriken and kunai, Naruto paid and left back to his new home. I paid half of what I would have paid if I were in my true form. Yes, Kit. And you have always bought low quality for premium prices. Well, this stops now. I won't let them take advantage of us again. Thank you, Kyuubi-chan. You're welcome, Kit, she responded in a gentle tone. XXX. Back at his home, Naruto, in his black uniform, was inspecting the house. Kyuubi-chan, this is going to be a nightmare. It'll take weeks to repair the house. No, it won't. It's time for me to teach you the technique I told you about. Really? What is it? Asked Naruto excitedly. Shadow clone technique. Shadow clone. I'm not that good at clones, said Naruto in a disappointed tone. Of course you aren't. You have too much chakra and too little control. The reason you can't do a normal clone is that it requires so little chakra, so that with your flimsy control, it's impossible. However, the shadow clone technique is within your capabilities. It requires a large amount of chakra, so you should be able to do it. Unlike the regular clone, a shadow clone can fight and think for itself. It's not just an illusion, it creates real clones. The power and chakra is evenly divided among the clones. However, it will dissipate at one hit. 1 hour later, under Kyuubi's tutelage, Naruto managed to make a shadow clone. Very good, Kit. Now, tell your clone to scout our surroundings, and then dispel it after 5 minutes. Done, said Naruto. Well, what? He asked. What is strange about this technique? What did your clone learn? He scouted around. And how do you know that? I remember. You remember what? Prompted Kyuubi. I remember what it did, but how do I know that? I was here. Very good, Kit. You see, when one of your shadow clone is dispelled, the memories, skills and knowledge it gathered return to you. Do you know what this means? What? It means you can make multiple shadow clones and put them to practice, learn or work. Whatever they learn, you'll know. It's the perfect method for training. Cool, you're the best, Kyuubi-chan. I know, Kit. Now, make some clones. About 50 shadow clones poofed into existence. Give one of the clones some money and tell it to buy some food. And by food, I mean healthy food, not ramen. Is that understood? The rest of them, tell them to clean the house. Naruto did as he was told. And me, you, start on physical training. XXX. The next day, Naruto woke up refreshed. He created 2 shadow clones to make breakfast while he took a shower. So, what's the plan for today? Asked Naruto after he finished eating his first healthy breakfast. Make 50 clones. Send 40 clones to the public library. Have them transform into someone else. For the next 10 days, their job is to improve your reading skills. Since no one will recognize them, they won't be thrown out, like they usually do when you go there. The other 10 are to transform into shinobi and enter the genin library. They are to find some exercises for chakra control. And what do I do? What do you think? Physical exercises until you are exhausted. Naruto trained for a few hours, ate and trained some more. That's enough, Kit. Dispel your clones. A wave of knowledge rushed into Naruto's brain. Finally, blessed unconsciousness came. XXX. The next day. What was that? Groaned Naruto. That, Kit, was too much information. You'll get used to it. If you were a normal human, the influx of information would have melted your brain. Melted? My brain? He asked weakly. Yes, but we share a mental link. The information you gather from your clones. I see it too. Thanks to my awesome mind and the power I gave you, I can sort that information in no time and without harming you. My head is killing me. I need to practice more, that's all. Sorting the memories of a few dozen is not as easy as you think. Okay, so what do I do today? Make as many clones as you can. Shadow clone technique. 300 clones appeared in puffs of smoke. 40 clones to the public library. 10 clones to the genin library, have them poke around. The rest 250, have them try that tree walking exercise. You get a shower and then eat. After that, physical training. At the end of the day, Naruto dispelled the clones that were training. He barely felt the backlash. Kyuubi-chan. Since the information we got now is more about a skill and instinct, and not about knowledge, it is much easier to sort. Now, try to climb a tree. Naruto walked to a tree and walked horizontally on its trunk. He walked up and down without falling. Wow, my clones barely managed to walk halfway and I can walk perfectly. Yes, their partial skill combined into a collective, average skill. There is something I don't understand, Kyuubi-chan. I made 250 clones. They managed to climb halfway. But aren't they the same? Since they all performed the same exercise, shouldn't they gain the exact same skill? I mean, if the skill gained by a clone is the same one that was gained by the rest, shouldn't the combined skill be the same as the skill of any clone? Ah, that is a good question, Kit. You see, when the clones are formed, they are all the same. However, each of them trains on a different tree. They think in a similar manner at first, but as time passes, they become more and more different. The mind is a very complicated thing. One very small change can alter our way of thinking in a huge way. It's called the butterfly effect. Okay, I kind of understand. Each clone learns different things, and when they are dispelled, we combine them. Yes, also, do you know how you learn a skill like tree walking? Let's put it this way, you gather a lot of data about how much chakra you use and the way you use it in a certain case. Our mind takes all that data and creates rules. It is like a mathematic equation. The more data you have, the better. That is why it doesn't really matter if you are doing the same exercise. Do you understand? I think I do. Good. Now let's eat before dispelling the clones from the libraries. XXX. What are we going to do today, Kyuubi-chan? Asked Naruto after he created 300 clones. 50 clones to the library, 100 clones for the tree walking exercise, the rest will do the water walking exercise. And you? Yes, I know. Physical exercises. XXX. What are we going to do today, Kyuubi-chan? Asked Naruto after he created 300 clones. 50 clones to the library, 50 clones for the tree walking exercise, 50 clones for the water walking exercise, and the rest will do the leaf floating exercise. And you? XXX. What are we going to do today, Kyuubi-chan? Asked Naruto after he created 300 clones. 50 clones to the library. The rest, chakra training. But I can already do that, Kyuubi-chan. Yes, I know, Kit. However, your chakra control still needs work. After you mastered these 3 exercises perfectly, we'll do something a little harder. XXX. 1 week later, Kyuubi pronounced Naruto as average on his reading skills. Create 400 clones, Kit. Naruto did as he was told and awaited further instructions. Now, 50 clones to the public library. Again, he whined. I thought I was done with that. You thought wrong, Kit. Now, as I was saying, 50 clones to the public library. They are to read books that would help us if we wanted to take a job. For example, books on cooking, constructions, hunting, or any other job you can possibly think about. Okay. 50 clones are to go to the Genin library. They are to start reading. They'll start with the academy textbooks and the basics. The rest of the clones are to continue on their chakra control. However, this time we'll have a different exercise. Naruto nodded with determination. The first group will run from tree to tree, using their feet or hands to stick to the trees. At the same time, they are to do the leaf exercise. The second group is to run on the lake on their feet and hands while doing the leaf exercise. The third group is to use their chakra control to swim through the lake, without moving their hands and feet. XXX. 1 week later. Okay, Kit. Today I am going to teach you a new technique, solid shadow clone. With this, you'll be able to make a clone that can absorb a little damage. It is much more resistant than the normal shadow clone, but it consumes more chakra. Cool. Kyuubi-chan, I wanted to ask you, why do you know this technique? Well, you know about summoning, don't you? Yes. He responded perplexed. Well, when you summon something, you give your chakra to make a shadow clone from the summoned animal. He provides the consciousness, but you provide the chakra. Similar to a solid clone, a summoning can take a bit of damage, depending on how much chakra you pushed in the clone or summoning. I see. But why are you teaching me this now? 2 reasons. First, it's good for combat. Second, I want you to create a few solid clones, transform them and get them to take a job. Job? What kind of job? Any job. Many jobs. Why? First reason, to earn money, we aren't exactly rich. Second reason, to gain civilian skills. And third, to gather information. They'll find out things that may be common knowledge, but we don't know, things that are known by relatively few people, or secrets known by only a few. 1 week after Naruto learned the solid clone technique, Kyuubi decided that it was finally time for Naruto to start working. Create 1000 shadow clones. Kyuubi waited for the puffs of smoke to disappear. Good. Now 300 will do chakra exercises. We'll add something harder, have them use their whole bodies for it. What do you mean, Kyuubi-chan? For example, instead of water walking using your feet and hands, do it using only the fingertips or even only one finger. Also, try to use the same technique using other parts of the body, like floating on your back or knees. The same thing for the tree walking exercise, use other parts of your body to stick to the tree. Naruto nodded in determination. Next, 200 clones are to start practicing throwing kunai and shuriken. Do that while standing in one place and while moving and running. When you are in a fight, you can't afford to take aim carefully. You must be ready to throw them while moving. Later, after you become proficient in this skill, we'll use clones to practice against each other. I understand. Next, 100 clones are to go to the libraries. Read anything of interest. I want you to pay special attention to anything about the human anatomy and medical scrolls. Okay, what about the rest? They are to practice transformation, replacement, normal clones and shadow clone techniques. But I already know them. I know, Kit, but I want you to master them completely. I want you to be able to do them silently, without using seals, without making puffs of smoke and without wasting any chakra. Now, Tell me what advantages you'll get from this. Naruto thought for a few moments. If I master a technique completely, I'll use less chakra, I'll be able to do it faster and it'll be more powerful. This means I'll be able to do more techniques in battle. Mastering the transformation technique will help me in infiltration missions. Mastering replacement technique would help a lot in battle. If I am in danger or I can't use my hands to use seals, I'll be able to escape. Mastering the clones techniques will allow me to make more clones and I'll be able to take my enemies by surprise if there are no puffs of smoke to give them away. Very good, Kit. Next, you'll create 100 solid clones. Their mission is to get a job. They will transform into different people, male and female, and get any job they can find. Remember, this is an infiltration mission. That means you will not reveal your true identity. You will construct a persona and delve into it. That means you not start spewing what you're thinking. You'll learn to keep your mouth shut. That especially means that you will under no circumstance start bragging about being the next Hokage or telling them your true identity. Is that understood? Yes, Kyuubi-chan. XXX. The next day, Naruto sent his 1,000 clones to their practice. Let's see what we have with our jobs, said Kyuubi. I have 3 clones that were hired as hunters. I have another 3 that work as medicinal herbs gatherers. 5 are working on a farm. 10 are working on a construction site. 4 are working as janitors. 1 is working at the onsen. 3 are working as waitresses, 6 on some stores, 9 that are actually working as apprentices, and another 9 are doing some odd jobs. In total, that makes 53 jobs. I must say I am impressed, Kit. Well, it wasn't that hard. It's easy to get a job if you aren't hated and willing to work long hours on lower pay. XXX. Naruto, one of Naruto's female personas, was hired at the onsen. Since her boss found out she had a great deal of medical knowledge, at least in theory, the boss decided to train her in the art of massage. Naruto gladly accepted. She made a mental note for the library clones to search for books on the subject the next day. She hit the jackpot. They found quite a few books and scrolls, some of them very good. Naruto had practiced at home, by creating a few hundred clones, separating them in 2 and having them practice on each other. Needless to say, Naruto gathered a few years of experience in only a few days. Coupled to the increasing theoretical knowledge from the clones that visited the library, or the geeks as Kyuubi called them, and the advice from her boss, Naruto became one of the best masseurs in only a few days. Naruto walked in her private room to see that her next client was Hinata. Oh, hi Hinata-chan. Hinata was Naruto's very first customer. She was also one of the few children that had been kind to Naruto at the academy. She was a shy girl, but very kind and sweet. Naruto liked her. The only thing that bothered Naruto and Naruto was that Hinata was even shyer around him than other people. Strangely, the girl behaved around Naruto the masseur, the same way she behaved around Naruto. Hi, Naruto-K-chan, she stammered. Naruto wondered if there was any way for Hinata to get over her shyness, stammering, and lack of confidence. Naruto vowed to herself that she would find a way to help Hinata. When the new year of academy would start, Naruto would be placed in the same class with Hinata. Perhaps Naruto could befriend the girl and help her. How was your training? Fine. Since the first time Naruto gave Hinata a massage, Hinata would come to the onsen every day and get a massage from Naruto. Come, Hinata-chan, hop on the table, said Naruto, smiling kindly. Yes. Hinata nodded and disrobed while blushing furiously. Naruto could not help herself to check out the girl. Even if she was a year younger and a little short, her S were well developed. Naruto concentrated on remaining professional. It was not hard even if the geeks read those books about the human reproductive system and the talk in a book. She had worked around girls for a few days and she learned to not blush or give herself away. Naruto proceeded in doing her job, making Hinata sigh in contentment. 10 minutes later, Naruto suddenly stopped. Say, Hinata-chan, I've been reading on a new type of massage. Since you are my most faithful customer, would you like to be my first? Sure, Naruko-chan, I'd like that. Hinata was so relaxed that she didn't stutter even once. Naruko smiled, gathered chakra in her hands, making them glow a pale pink, and continued to massage Hinata's back. Hinata began to breathe faster. Are you all right, Hinata-chan? Do you want me to stop? No. Don't stop. Continue. Please. Naruko shrugged. She must really like it, she thought. Finishing with the back, Naruko proceeded in massaging the legs. When Naruko reached the girl's thighs, Hinata's whole body tensed for a few seconds and she shuddered before she relaxed completely. Hinata-chan, are you feeling fine? I feel great, Naruko-chan, she replied with a lazy smile. Thank you. You were great. Naruko shrugged mentally. It seems that this new technique was successful. Hinata looked very relaxed. I have to show this to Kyuubi-chan. She really likes my massages. XXX. After dispelling the clones, Naruto promptly fell asleep. He woke up in his mental landscape. It had changed drastically. No longer was he surrounded by the darkness of a sewer. Instead, Naruto found himself in a forest. He walked into a clearing and saw a house. It was Kyuubi's prison and it had the same seal on the door that he saw the first time he met Kyuubi. He entered through the door as if it was insubstantial and headed for the bedroom. He walked in to see a sleeping dark red-headed girl. She had both human and foxy ears. Naruto walked and sat on the edge of the bed and smiled as one of her 9 tails caressed his face. Naruto touched the tail and started to pet it. Hello, Kit. I didn't expect you here today, she said 5 minutes later, rubbing her eyes from sleep. I know. I'm here to give you a massage. After their first meeting, Kyuubi changed in her human form. After Naruto started to give massages at the onsen, he began to give them to Kyuubi as well. He did that every time he entered the mental landscape. Oh, yeah, Hinata seemed to really like my technique. I thought you might like to try it. Kit, you really have a huge blind spot when it comes to girls. And you even read all about it. It looks like you need some practical lessons, she said with a strange smile. What do you mean? I'll explain later. Kyuubi disrobed and motioned Naruto to start. Naruto smiled and ran his hands through Kyuubi's tails. He then started to rub her back, and Kyuubi smiled in contentment. Naruto began to channel chakra in his hands. How does it feel? He asked. It feels great, she responded, struggling to keep her body under control. In only a few minutes, she shuddered and moaned her release. Unlike Hinata, who had her panties and a towel on her rear, Kyuubi was completely. What did just happened? He stammered. Naruto had tried to block it from his mind, but even he realized that his ministrations resulted in something. That, my dear Naruto-kun, she said in a husky tone, was an orgasm. Orgasm, he squeaked. Yes. Turning around, Kyuubi grasped Naruto's shoulders and pulled him to her and gave him a long kiss. Naruto had a frozen expression on his face. Kyuubi smiled softly and hugged him tighter as she burrowed his head between her s. You mean, like in the talk, orgasm? Yes. This means we, and me and Hinata, he said horrified. How can I be so stupid? I'm really sorry. Sorry for what? I really enjoyed it. And I'm sure Hinata enjoyed it as much as I did. Kyuubi rubbed his back, trying to comfort him. Kyuubi grasped his chin and gave him another long kiss. They rolled over and she smiled seductively. She started disrobing him. Wait. We can't. Why? I'm 13. So what? Aren't I too young? Kyuubi pushed her hands inside his boxers. It seems you aren't, she grinned. But, no buts, Naruto-kun. You gave me pleasure, now it's my time to return the favor. XXX. The next day, a smiling Naruto woke up. He and Kyuubi had returned the favor for hours. Naruto was grinning so much that he felt that nothing could dampen his spirits. For the first time he was happy. He had a good teacher, a person he cared for. Unlike the fake smile he put around the villagers and even the Hokage to hide his true feelings, Naruto truly felt happy, from the bottom of his soul. He walked in the bathroom and froze in front of the mirror. His once blue eyes had turned into red slitted ones. Are you okay, Naruto-kun? Asked Kyuubi worriedly. Yes. I'm fine. You're not upset. No. Why should I be? Your eyes are beautiful. They are the same as yours and I really like them. Really? She asked surprised. I thought you'd be upset. A few weeks ago, I would have been. But now, I am glad for them, because they are your eyes. If you keep this up, Naruto-kun, I'll start blushing. After what we did last night, I don't think there is anything that can make you, or me for that matter, blush. Is that so? Well, I am sure I'll find something, teased Kyuubi. XXX. As Kyuubi promised, Kyuubi found something to tease him with. That was Ika Ika Paradise. Naruto was staying under a tree, reading the perverted book. Kyuubi was commenting on the book and the clones were training. There's someone spying on us. Yes, it's Hinata, said Kyuubi. Hinata? How? I mean, this isn't the first time she spied on me. At least you figured that much. Tell me, kid, do you know why she is spying on you? I have no idea. Foolish kid, must I spell everything to you? She likes you. Maybe it's even love. Really? Huh, it actually makes sense, said Naruto thoughtfully, thinking back on past encounters. So, what do you think about her? What do you mean? I mean, do you like the girl? Naruto thought for a few seconds. It doesn't matter, he finally said. I already have you. So what? What do you mean, so what? You're my girlfriend, right? I guess I am, Kit. But what does this have to do with Hinata? You're my girlfriend. I'm not going to cheat on you. Foolish Kit, she laughed amused. I am not a human. I do not have human morals. I do not mind taking other mates. After all, you are my container. We deserve the best. I actually want more mates. And Hinata would be a good choice. Really? So you're telling me to? Yes, but only if you like her. Well, she's nice and kind and really cute. She was always nice to me. She's really smart. And she and Naruto got to be good friends and got to know her a bit. I guess I kind of like her. I am pleased. We may have a new mate. Kyuubi, I think we are getting ahead of ourselves. I mean, is she here for me? I haven't shown my face outside the house. I always wear my mask, so I don't really think she knows it's me. Perhaps, but perhaps not. Tell me, Kit, what bloodline limit does she have? The Byakugan, answered Naruto. Yes. And what are its powers? It sees on a 360 angle, it can see through solid objects and it can see chakra. Oh, I see. If she can see chakra, then she knows who I am. My chakra is like my fingerprint. She doesn't need to see my face to know who I am. Very good. What about the clones? Asked Kyuubi. Clones? Oh shit. My clones have my chakra signature. She might know who my clones are. More important, she might know Naruto is my clone. Very good, Kit. Now think about your meetings at the onsen. Even you realized she behaves around Naruto the same way she behaved around you. Does this mean she knows I was giving her massages? That I saw her, and she still came back. Not many girls would let a boy do what you did. It must mean she really likes you. I think we just got lucky, Kit, Kyuubi said happily. I have a plan. A few minutes later, Kyuubi finished. Naruto put the book on the ground and got to his feet. Come out, Hinata. I know you're here. Hinata came from behind a tree. Naruto-kun. So you know. Hinata nodded. I suppose you know about my clones. Another nod. And about Naruto. Hinata froze for a second, and then nodded again. I knew she was you, she stuttered. She had your chakra. Naruto took his mask off, making Hinata's eyes to widen at the red slitted eyes. Hinata took a step back before steeling herself. Naruto-kun is not the Kyuubi, she whispered to herself. A normal person would not have heard Hinata's words. Naruto, however, had increased senses thanks to Kyuubi. You know about the Kyuubi? Hinata's whole body froze. Why yes. How? The Kyuubi was not killed, but sealed inside you. There is a law given by the Hokage. It is forbidden to talk about the truth with anyone that doesn't know. This is why none of our current generation knows the truth. But the villagers talk with each other, in private. I got curious. I wanted to know why they were so mean to you. I activated my Byakugan and saw them talking. I read their lips. Surprisingly, Hinata didn't stutter even once. So you're okay with it? Yes, Naruto-kun. I don't mind. Not even if I talk to her. Her. Yes. The last time someone tried to kill me, she saved me, healed me. Kill you? Yeah. The villagers have been trying to kill me since, always. Thanks to her, I managed to stay alive. She healed me when I was injured. She actually isn't that bad. The Kyuubi is a she. Yes, and she's kind of my girlfriend. Oh, Hinata's face fell in disappointment. I'm happy for you, she said, turning around. She doesn't mind sharing. What? Naruto walked toward Hinata and hugged her from behind. She doesn't mind sharing. Hinata turned around in Naruto's embrace and looked deeply in his red eyes. Naruto kissed her. Hinata melted in Naruto's embrace as he used a little chakra to rub her back. After the kiss, Hinata burrowed her head in his chest. So, does this mean you'll be my girlfriend? He asked, with one hand rubbing circles on her back and the other running through her hair. Yes, Naruto-kun, she replied with a smile. They stayed like that for some time. It's getting late, Hinata said in disappointment. I have to go home. Can I come back tomorrow? Of course, Hinata-chan. You are always welcomed here. XXX. The next morning, Hinata came back. Naruto was still under a tree, reading. Good morning, Naruto-kun. Naruto took off his mask. Morning, Hinata-chan. What are you reading? Naruto put his book on the ground. Oh, this. Come closer. Hinata took a step forward. Closer. Another step. When Hinata was in arm's reach, Naruto suddenly grabbed her arm and dragged her down in his lap. Naruto-kun, she squeaked. This, Naruto said, is something to help you with your stutter. You'll read from this book until you stop stuttering. Naruto gave her the book and he tightened his embrace. His left hand was just under Hinata's right and his right one was making circles on her belly. Hinata started reading aloud. A few minutes later, she reached the juicy stuff and she stopped. This is porn, she stammered. Yes, and if you manage to read one page without stuttering, I'll give you a present, he murmured, kissing her shoulder. Hinata nodded, and a few pages later she started to breathe heavily, but she lost the stutter. Naruto kissed the corner of her mouth. You improved. Naruto kissed her fully on the lips and Hinata moaned. His left hand slipped under her shirt, needing a. Naruto-kun, it's okay. It's time for your reward. Reward? Yes, remember that special massage I gave you? It's that kind of reward. Is that fine with you? Yes, Naruto-kun, moaned Hinata in pleasure. I'll do anything for Naruto-kun. I love you, Naruto-kun. Naruto's hand slipped into her panties. Good, said Naruto as he kissed her again. XXX. Naruto stopped from his physical training and watched some of his clones as they dodged one another's kunai attacks. They had been doing it for more than a week. Naruto learned how to dodge and parry, single and multiple attacks. Hinata-chan should be here soon. Yes, Kit. I wish you could meet her in person. Kyuubi-chan, can the seal be broken? No, Kit. If it is broken, we both die. That's too bad. If the villagers were to hear you. Yeah, Kyuubi-chan, if you can't break the seal, can't we make a shadow clone or some kind of summoning of you? Kyuubi fell silent. Kyuubi-chan, Naruto-kun, you're brilliant. Let me think a bit about this. Kyuubi fell silent for an hour. Naruto-kun, I think I got it. Please make a solid clone. Naruto did as he was told, but instead of a clone of himself, Kyuubi stood in front of him. Did it work? He thought to Kyuubi. Yes, responded the clone. How did you know what I mentally asked? My clones don't know what the original thinks. And I talked to the original you from the seal. Ah, but that is because you are a human and I am not. It is called multitasking. My mind is so powerful that I can control more than one clone, directly. That is why, when you are talking to the clone me, you are talking at the same time with the me in the seal. We are one entity. Unlike your clones that think for as individuals, I can make my clones be one entity with me. Oh, that's really cool, Kyuubi-chan. I'm glad you can have your own body. Kyuubi smiled, kissed Naruto and embraced him deeply. I couldn't have done it without you. Naruto opened his mouth to protest the praise, but was interrupted. It's true. You gave me the idea and you allowed me to get out. Allowed you? Yes, Naruto-kun. I can only do this because you allowed me to get out. Had you fought against me having the clone, I couldn't have done it. XXX. Naruto the waitress smiled at Anko. Having 50 spies in the village made hearing gossip and rumors very easy. From what Naruto picked up, Anko was the former apprentice of the traitor Orochimaru. Apparently, she was in a similar situation with Naruto. She was hated and despised by most of the village for something that was outside her power. The difference was that Anko was able to protect herself. There were many mutterings behind her back, but only when she was not present. After all, it was rumored that Anko was less than stable, something that Anko seems to encourage. Anko was a regular and a dango addict. Her coworkers were not comfortable around Anko. When they discovered that Naruto had no problem serving her, she was designated more or less as Anko's private waitress. In just a short time, they became friends. Naruto and Kyuubi decided that Anko was the best choice for a sensei. Naruto really needed a teacher. Kyuubi could do a lot of things, but one of the best things she could do was to delegate and find new talent. Kyuubi in particular liked the woman. She thought Anko would make a great teacher. Soon, Naruto would approach her, but first, Naruto would have to do a bit of groundwork. Naruto put the sticks of dango in front of Anko, jumped into her lap and hugged her. You seem upset, Anko-chan, hard day. Yeah, bloody civilians. Naruto started to rub the woman's back. This feels great, she groaned. Feel better? Asked Naruto a few minutes later. Yeah, thanks. This is nothing. You should go see my sister. Just tell her I sent you. For my special friends, she gives a discount and a special service, said Naruto. I think I'll go. Thanks. Hinata approached Naruto's home. Her family had lost interest in her training. As such, she was mostly free to train herself and leave her home at will, as long as she returned home on time. She watched the hundreds of clones as they practiced. They were all running around throwing kunai and shurikens at one another. Some of them were jumping around in the trees, some of them were running on the water. Some were running on the ground and some were doing all three. Hinata watched awestruck as they threw weapons at one another. Most of the weapons were dodged. Some were parried, and some were using the substitution technique to escape. Hinata was impressed. Being able to do ninjutsu without seals was quite a feat, even the simplest techniques required years of practice. True, the substitution technique was one of the most basic ninjutsu. However, Hinata did not know of anyone who was able to do it. It was quite impressive for an academy student. It was almost as impressive as having hundreds of clones training. Hinata entered the clearing where the true Naruto was. Unlike his clones, he was training only his body. She smiled in happiness. Her smile, however, was cut short. Watching Naruto under a tree was a girl. She looked 16 years old and had dark red hair. For a moment she thought she was one of Naruto's clones in female form. The girl sensed Hinata and looked at the newcomer. Hinata gasped at the eyes. They were the same as Naruto's, red slit eyes. Somehow Hinata did not think that the girl was Naruto. She had watched many of Naruto's clones. They had different age, gender, height, face, and they all had something in common, besides the chakra signature. The girl was different. For a moment she thought about activating her bloodline, but discarded the idea. It would not be polite. "Hi, Hinata-chan," said Naruto. "Greetings, Hinata-chan," said the girl. Hinata drew a deep breath to calm herself. "Hello, Naruto-kun." She glanced at the girl. If she wasn't Naruto, then there was only one other option. She was the Kyuubi. Naruto appeared a little nervous. "This is Kyuubi," he said, motioning at his companion. Hinata smiled nervously. "Nice to meet you, Kyuubi-san." Kyuubi nodded, acknowledging the greeting and approaching the girl. "Naruto, why don't you continue with your training? Hinata and I have some things to discuss, you know, girl stuff." "Okay," he said cautiously. "Have fun." Kyuubi nodded and motioned to the girl to follow her. Hinata did as she was told and followed Kyuubi in the house. Kyuubi motioned to Hinata to sit. As soon as Hinata sat on a couch, another Kyuubi entered the room. "Tea?" she asked. "Yes, thank you," replied Hinata. "Shadow clone," explained Kyuubi, seeing that Hinata was a little confused. After they drank the tea, Kyuubi sighed. "I guess you are a little uncomfortable." Hinata wanted to deny it, but shrugged. "A little," she admitted. "About me being the Kyuubi or me being Naruto's mate?" "Both, I think," said Hinata quietly. "Naruto-kun explained about you. I don't hold a grudge against you or your past actions. And he already told me that I'd have to share him with you. I do not mind sharing. That is good, because I am not the only one you'll have to share him with." I did not tell Naruto about this. But a side effect of our bond is that he inherited some of my demonic instincts. One of them is the urge to mate. For now, the instinct is almost non-existent. In the future, however, this will change. His instincts will tell him to take more than one mate. It is the way of my kind. He could suppress those instincts, but he would be much happier and healthier if he did not. I understand, Kyuubi-san. I will not stand in the way of his happiness, said Hinata with determination. Good. And I'd like you to call me Kyuubi-chan, like Naruto. Hinata nodded and smiled shyly. Now that we got that out of the way, we need to talk about your training. Training? Kyuubi-chan. Kyuubi nodded. I am training Naruto. As my container, he is in great danger from both outside and inside the village. You as one of his mates are in the same danger. You must be able to protect yourself. Hinata looked down in shame. I am weak. Yes you are. But you are still in the academy and we will change that in no time. In any case, you are not as unskilled as you think. After all, you can't expect anything else. Your clan barely trains you. Instead of teaching you, they destroy your self-esteem and insult you. How did you know? What Naruto knows, I know. You told Naruto that your clan doesn't like you that much. But, I didn't tell him anything else. Yes, but we have a lot of clones in the village. We got curious about you and we did our research. We found out some things about your clan and you in particular. Kyuubi got up and went next to Hinata, sat down and took her in her lap. It is hard to get strong when you have no reason and motivation. But that's fine. You got me and Naruto now. We'll help you. We'll help each other. Hinata felt better. For the first time since her mother died, she had someone that cared for her, even if one of them was a demon and the other the demon's container. We are trying to get a sensei. Until that happens, you and Naruto will spar together. His taijutsu skills are abysmal, but his stamina and recovery rate is excellent. With me, yes. Since Naruto is very good at creating clones, he will need to learn a style that concentrates less on strength and more on speed and accuracy. As such, I insist on your help. Some of your family style moves are much better suited than what little he learned from the academy. Of course, it is not the best choice as he lacks your bloodline limit, but it will help considerably. Naruto will learn a better style and you'll get some practice. Is that fine with you? Of course, I'll do anything to help Naruto-kun. XXX. Half an hour later, Hinata and Naruto were preparing to fight each other. Go ahead, guys. Let's see what you got. 5 minutes later, Kyuubi interrupted the match. Stop. Naruto, this isn't a brawl. Use more of your speed. Try to dodge. I don't want to hurt her, replied Naruto. She'll heal. Better a little bruise now than dead later. In any case, you're too slow to hurt her, said Kyuubi. Hinata, use your Byakugan and the gentle fist. Both of you are holding back. You know how it is, no pain, no gain. But if I do, I'll seal his Tenketsu points, said Hinata. I don't want to hurt Naruto-kun. Kyuubi frowned at the answer. Let's try a little experiment. Hinata, seal one of Naruto's Tenketsu. Seeing that Hinata looked doubtful, Naruto smiled warmly at Hinata. Don't worry, Hinata-chan. I heal pretty fast. I'll be fine. Don't worry. Trust me. Hinata nodded and did as she was told. She activated her bloodline and her hand flashed forward. Naruto's left hand fell limp. That's interesting, said Kyuubi. Let's see. Hinata gasped as the sealed Tenketsu point glowed red for a second. Naruto lifted his arm as if it was normal. How? It takes hours to recover from a gentle fist strike. That would be true if Naruto were a normal person. But he isn't. Because I am sealed inside his body, he heals much faster. However, this is not why he recovered so fast. Since I can influence his body, I pushed some of my own chakra in his sealed Tenketsu. This means you can practice on Naruto without worrying about hurting him. He is the perfect practice dummy for you. Naruto didn't seem to appreciate being called a practice dummy, but kept quiet. Okay, you two. Start practicing and don't hold back. Hinata, as I said, you can't harm Naruto. And Naruto, you are too slow for Hinata. This means you can both go all out without worrying. At the moment, you are the perfect sparring partners. Hinata and Naruto nodded seriously and launched themselves at each other. XXX. A few hours later, Kyuubi interrupted Hinata and Naruto's sparring for the last time. That's enough for today. If we continue like this, you'll both progress very fast. Hinata collapsed to the ground, breathing heavily. Even though they had taken regular breaks, Hinata was unable to keep up with Naruto's stamina. Hinata also had a much smaller chakra capacity. Using the Byakugan and the gentle fist for long periods of time required a lot of chakra. Hinata, you're almost out of chakra. You did very well, said Kyuubi in an encouraging tone. If you continue to spar like this every day, your reserves will grow much faster than they normally do. The same applies to your body. Hinata nodded happily at the encouragement. For the first time, Hinata felt good about herself after a spar. At first, she felt the same way she felt when she was training under her father's disapproving eyes. He was always disappointed in her. But Naruto and Kyuubi were different. Under their eyes, she began to feel happy and free. They cared. If she made a mistake, Kyuubi would correct her with a smile. They believed in her. They were patient. They did not sneer at her weaknesses. XXX. A few days later, Naruto woke himself with Kyuubi in his arms. Morning, Kyuubi-chan, said Naruto on their mental link. Kyuubi gave Naruto a long kiss. Good morning, Naruto-kun, she replied. Don't you think it's time for us to talk to Anko? Yes, she sighed. Why the hesitation? Asked Naruto frowning. You said she is the best choice for a sensei. Kyuubi fell silent for a long time. Some of the Junin say that the Hokage has a crystal ball. With it, he can see almost anything in the village. I have felt something watching us from time to time. I think it's the Hokage. He has watched our training. It is quite possible that he found out about me. I am concerned. Concerned about what? He is the Hokage. If he were to decide that we are a danger to the village, he might order our death. The old man. He wouldn't. You are still young and foolish. He may care about you, but his duty is to the village. Remember that all of those who become Hokage have red hands. Do not be fooled by the grandfatherly face. He is a ninja and he has killed many. Some of those were innocents sacrificed for the greater good or for profit. We must move carefully while we do not know what the Hokage thinks and while we are vulnerable. If we did not need the resources of the village to get stronger and you were inclined to leave, I would have tried to convince you to run away. Alas, that is not the case. I had thought he would have made a move, that he would have questioned us. Since that is not the case, he is still observing us. I do not want to move too quickly. I do not want us to seem too threatening. So what are we going to do? I hope that the third would have reacted in some way. He must know that something happened with you. He must suspect that we made some sort of contact. I wanted to wait on Anko until we spoke to him. Since he didn't, I conclude that he is not too concerned. As Anko is a Junin, she will most likely inform the Hokage if we approach her. That is why I am concerned. If she thinks we are a risk, she will inform the Hokage. It is very important for you to make a good impression on her. She is not liked by the villagers and most of the ninja, but the third seems to trust her. Her opinion will carry a lot, and if he doesn't talk to us first, she'll be the best source of information for the Hokage. It is very important for her to think well of us. XXX. Kyuubi, are you sure about this? Asked Naruto. This was a special day. As such, the true Naruto transformed in Naruto and went to her daily job at the onsen. Yes, I am quite sure. But you said we should be careful about approaching her. This isn't careful. She is going to hurt me. This isn't a good plan. Kyuubi rolled her metaphoric eyes. Don't worry, Naruto-chan. I have everything planned out. Later that day, Naruto's next client came. Anko-chan, it is good to see you. Lately, you come by every day. You must be very stressed out. Anko grinned seductively. I just love your touch, she said, advancing towards Naruto. 2 steps away from Naruto, she threw her bathrobe away. Like what you see? She asked in a breathy voice. Of course, Anko-chan. You are very beautiful, Naruto replied, taking in the sight. Damn, you're no fun, Naruto-chan. At first you were unable to look at me without blushing, and now, damn. Teasing you was the most fun I had. But now, you don't even blink, she pouted. Am I losing my touch? Of course not, Anko-chan. I just got used to you. Don't worry. Now, sit. Anko nodded and lied down on the table. Naruto proceeded with her job, making Anko groan. You know, this is great. You're the next best thing to Dango. You mean food is better than me? I'm disappointed, Anko-chan. Let me show you something. I'll prove I'm the best. Naruto's hands begun to glow pink and she started to gently rub Anko's back. Oh gods, moaned Anko. Minutes later, Anko was a puddle of quivering flesh. So, am I better than Dango? Asked Naruto. Yes, you are. That was incredible. I know. My girlfriend has the same opinion. Your girlfriend. Won't she be upset about this? No, she's okay with sharing. Huh. So, who is she? Do I know the lucky girl? I doubt it. She's an academy student. I don't think you ever met her. Your girlfriend is in the academy. Aren't you a little old for that? Not at all. I'm just a year older than her. I'll be in the same class with her this year. Anko turned her head towards Naruto and frowned in suspicion. You can't be that young. You are at least 16. Ah well, Naruto smiled nervously. I'm, kind of, disguised. Anko sat up and peered closely at Naruto. You aren't under a transformation technique. Not exactly, replied Naruto. Naruto was never good at ninjutsu. Before he met Kyuubi, he was never able to do a normal clone. That was because it required too little chakra and too much control. The same thing could have been said about the transformation technique. It was more of a genjutsu than a ninjutsu. However, Naruto was unaware of the distinction. He thought that he could actually physically transform in a different being or object. Due to Kyuubi's special abilities, Naruto was able to do the impossible for a normal human. He was able to physically transform into someone or something else. The only technique he was able to do was the replacement, since it did not require precise chakra control. Of course, that all changed after he met Kyuubi. Thanks to her, Naruto was able to read and understand the theory behind the techniques. He was also able to learn chakra control to perform the transformation and clone techniques as they were taught in the academy. Anko peered closer at Naruto. Suddenly, she touched Naruto's S. They are real. This isn't an illusion. You can't be a young academy girl. Naruto smiled inwardly. I'm not. You just said you were, said Anko with narrowed eyes. I am an academy student. Gods. I hope she won't kill me, thought Naruto. That's what I said. No, you didn't, replied Naruto nervously. Anko narrowed her eyes, thinking for a long minute. I said girl. You said student. Are you saying you aren't a girl? Yes. That can't be. Anko opened Naruto's shirt and took off the bra and stared at the S. Those are real, she declared. Naruto, are you making fun of me? She asked dangerously. No, Anko-chan. This is my female form. Female form. Does this mean you have a male form? Yes. I don't believe that. Show me, she ordered. Naruto nodded. Suddenly, instead of a girl, a boy was in front of Anko. Hi, I'm Uzumaki Naruto. Anko's eyes bulged out. She started to touch him. This can't be. You are a boy. Anko brought her hands together. Kai. Huh. Nothing happened. It isn't a genjutsu. You really are a boy. Yeah, responded the blonde blue-eyed boy. In the weeks following Naruto's meeting with Kyuubi, Naruto had grown considerably. He was no longer a little runt. Thanks to eating healthy and not starving, coupled to the new connection with Kyuubi, Naruto grew to a height normal to his age group. Wait a minute. If you are a boy, you've seen me. Shit, thought Naruto. She's going to kill me now. Calm down, Naruto. I told you I planned this. Trust me, said Kyuubi. Yeah, sorry about that. Anko remained silent for a few long moments, and then she grinned wickedly. Well, so young and such a pervert. Did you enjoy staring at girls? Did you enjoy rubbing your hands on their hot, beautiful, hot bodies? That's not why I did this. Unconsciously, Naruto's eyes glanced on Anko's full S. That doesn't mean you didn't enjoy it. Anko took Naruto in her arms, placing his head between her S. Does it? Sorry. You're so cute when you're embarrassed. You're not mad? Asked a shocked Naruto. Nah, actually this is quite amusing, laughed Anko. I didn't have this much fun in years. Anko sat on the table with Naruto in her lap. So, why did you do all this? Wait a minute, I know about you. You don't have any relatives, but that girl from the dango shop said she's your sister. It's a long story. I have all the time in the world. Naruto-chan, she laughed. Well, most people hate me for some reason. In the academy, the teacher refused to teach me. I learned how to read on my own, but I was not that good since I had to pick up the skill on my own, without reading materials. Most stores don't sell me things, so I couldn't even buy a book. Because the teachers didn't like me, they sabotaged me and tried to teach me as little as possible. I failed the academy exam twice. I couldn't make clones, so I failed. Because my chakra reserves are very large, my control was very bad. No one ever told me what to do, and because I'm not allowed in the library, I didn't know about chakra control exercises. You say that as if now you don't have those problems anymore. Yeah, after I failed the exam, someone tried to kill me, again. When I woke up, Old Man Hokage gave me a new home that is kind of isolated. I learned the shadow clone technique from a friend and got some advice. After that day, my life changed. You learned how to make shadow clones? Yeah. Since I have a lot of chakra, I can make a lot of them. It also seems that my transformation technique is a little special. I used transformed clones to enter in the libraries. That's how I found out about chakra control exercises. I used my shadow clones to train. If my clones learn something, the knowledge is transferred to me after they are dispelled. After that, I continued to use my clones to train, learn and read books. I learned how to read and my chakra control is very good now. I also practiced until I managed to do replacement, clones and transformation without seals. Without seals. That's quite impressive. What about your sister? I kind of needed some money, so I made some clones and put them to work. I see. So, are you a clone? Not today. I'm the real me. That can't be. I've seen her and you get hit. A shadow clone dies if it receives a hit. Yeah, but the clones that work are special. They are solid clones. I made a few changes to the technique. If you reinforce it by putting more chakra in a shadow clone, you can make them a lot more powerful. They can take a few hits before they die. So you mean you have your disguised clones running around the village? Anko laughed. Yeah, I got a few dozens. I need the money, and learning a civilian skill is nothing to sneeze at. As a ninja I might need to pretend I am a civilian. I see. So who is that friend that showed you the shadow clone technique? I'm sorry Anko-chan. I promised I'd keep the name secret. Ah, that's okay. You say that the academy teachers never teach you anything. Yeah, unless insults and punishments are meant to teach me something. I see. So why did you tell me all this? I know that the villager hate you almost as much as they hate me. You were always nice to me and we became friends, so I thought I could trust you. You're so sweet, replied Anko and smothered the boy to her chest. I like you. How about this? Since you say you have all those clones to produce money, let's make a deal. You give me free massage and food and I'll train you. Really? Yeah. Thank you Anko-chan. Can you help my girlfriend too? Huh? Who's she? Hinata Hyuga. Her family isn't nice, so we train together. I see. Well, the more the merrier. Thank you Anko-chan. XXX. The next morning, Naruto decided to take a break for the day. Anko would not be a gentle teacher. As soon as Hinata came, Naruto took off his mask. He preferred his true eyes, but he did not want to let Anko to see them. In time, after he gained more trust in her, he would tell her more. For the moment however, his true eyes would only be seen by Hinata and Kyuubi. Good morning, Naruto-kun. Morning, Hinata-chan. I have news. Come inside. I'll tell you all about it over breakfast. Naruto told Hinata about his meeting with Anko after eating. That is great, Hinata said excitedly. XXX. The next day, Anko came by Naruto's house for their first day of training. After some quick introductions, Anko decided to begin. So, you Naruto, what can you do? I know the 3 academy ninjutsus and the shadow clone. I can do the without seals. I at genjutsu and my taijutsu isn't very good. I progressed a bit thanks to Hinata-chan. My weapon throwing abilities are good. I have a lot of chakra and my chakra control is pretty good. Okay. What about you, Hinata? I only know the academy basic ninjutsu and my family style. Due to my bloodline, I can see through almost any genjutsu. My taijutsu skills are better than average. I am average with weapons. I do not have a lot of chakra, but my control is almost perfect. Anko nodded in satisfaction. Okay you two. Why don't you two have a friendly spar? Naruto and Hinata nodded and launched themselves in the fight. Half an hour later, Anko stopped them. That's acceptable, for wet behind the ears academy students. You'll have to do better. After they rested for a bit, Anko decided to test them further. Okay guys, now it is me against you two. You can use anything you want. Come seriously at me. Try to at least land a blow. Naruto and Hinata nodded and sped into the forest. Naruto made 30 clones and sent them at Anko to test her. They engaged her in taijutsu. Anko killed them all, but barely moved. Naruto sent another wave of clones. This time, they surrounded Anko and started throwing kunais at her. Anko dodged and caught a kunai in each hand. The clones fired kunais again. Anko rushed the clones, while parrying the weapons thrown at her. She passed by them, making only one slash. Soon all the clones were dead. Naruto made 60 shadow clones and 10 solid clones and attacked Anko. Hinata was right behind Naruto. They began to attack. Naruto, Hinata and the solid clones were attacking hand to hand, and the shadow clones kept their distance, occasionally throwing a kunai at Anko. Anko waved through their attacks, never being hit, but always hitting something. She made a clone of herself who rushed the shadow clones that were attacking from the distance. Naruto and Hinata tried to move faster, but it was impossible to land a hit on the special Junin. In the end, Naruto and Hinata collapsed on the ground, exhausted. Anko wasn't even breathing hard. That was fun. Hinata, your greatest strength should be your speed, but you are not fast enough. You also lack stamina and chakra capacity. We'll concentrate on that. Also, using only your formal family style isn't good enough, it has some weaknesses. My style is similar enough that you can incorporate some of it in your personal style. Yes, Anko-sensei. Naruto, you have a lot of stamina and chakra, but you don't know how to use them. You can make a lot of clones, but they are useless as you are now. Since clones are so fragile, even your solid clones, you need to concentrate on your speed and combat style. I'll teach you mine. It's fast, precise, brutal and deadly. No flashy and flowery movements. The way you move now. You are brawling. Using my style, you'll learn how to incapacitate or kill in one movement, similar to Hinata's style. If she would have hit me even once, she would have weakened me considerably. However, if you hit me, it's nothing, just a little pain, but no damage. Also, since you have a lot of chakra and you can use shadow clones to learn new things, I'll teach you some techniques that work very good with your shadow clones. I want you to practice them until you are as proficient as you are with your clone technique. Normally, this would take years, but thanks to your special learning technique, you should be able to master them in a few weeks. Yes, Anko-sensei. The next day, Anko returned to Naruto's home. He prepared a large and healthy breakfast for Anko and himself. After they finished eating, they went outside to wait for Hinata. Good morning, Naruto-kun, Anko-sensei, Hinata said when she arrived. Good morning, Hinata-chan, Naruto greeted her with a smile. Anko nodded at the greeting. Morning, Hinata. Now that we are all here, it's time for training. Today, you will continue sparring. Anko looked at Naruto. Since you can make so many clones, your clones can learn 2 new techniques while you and Hinata train. The first is, Anko drew a kunai and launched it at a tree, and then she made a few hand signs. Shuriken shadow technique, she shouted. Dozens of shurikens came into existence. Some of them hit the tree and others flew past it, hitting other trees. Wow, that was impressive, said Naruto. You haven't seen anything. Anko grinned and did a hand sign. Shadow clone technique. Another Anko came into existence. She walked towards the lake and stopped in its center. A few seconds later, she exploded. I'm going to learn that, Naruto said, impressed by the explosion. Yes. How many shadow clones can you make for training? I can make 1,000. Impressive. You will make 500 shadow clones to practice the shuriken shadow technique and 500 that will practice the exploding clone technique. Yes, Anko-sensei. The exploding clone technique is a suicide-type technique that allows you to use the chakra from your clone to form a powerful explosion. XXX. After Anko explained to Naruto how to perform the 2 new techniques, he created his clones and sent them training. After that, he and Hinata sparred for the rest of the day. From time to time, Anko stopped them and corrected their moves. By the end of the day, Naruto's clones managed to learn both techniques Anko showed to him. Let's stop for today, Anko told her 2 new students. Yes, Anko-sensei, Naruto and Hinata answered in unison. Naruto, dispel your clones and show me what you learned. Yes, Anko-sensei. Naruto gave the command to his clones to dispel. I think I got it, he said with a grin. Naruto barely felt a twinge of dizziness at the 500 clones that dumped their memories into him. Kyuubi had become quite proficient at processing the information received from his clone training. The 500 clones that were supposed to learn the exploding clone technique had already completed their training in an exploding exam. Really? Let's see it, Anko said. Naruto created 10 clones. They jumped into some trees and surrounded a tree trunk. They all launched shurikens at it, at the same time. Shuriken shadow technique, the clones shouted in unison. For each real shuriken, dozens of shadow ones came into existence. The trunk tree was hit with hundreds of shurikens. As soon as the shurikens hit, the 10 clones sped towards their target. Once they reached it, they exploded in perfect synchrony. That's pretty good, brat, Anko said. With the techniques you now know, you should be able to defeat any number of genins and almost any single chunin. Naruto grinned at the praise. However, don't let that go to your head, Anko said sternly. A quick chunin would be able to defeat you with ease. Yes, Anko-sensei, Naruto replied soberly. XXX. Next day, Anko came again for breakfast. Naruto, your greatest weakness is your taijutsu, Anko begun. Yesterday, after seeing how fast you learned the 2 techniques I showed you, I realized how you could learn faster. Each day, your clones will learn a few katazen moves. If they practice it long enough, they will become an instinct for you. The next day, Naruto was able to sometimes block a few of Hinata's hits. Each day, Anko would show him more katas and moves for his clones to practice. She organized pairs of clones that would mock fight in slow motion against each other using only one move and its counter move. In a little over a week, Naruto learned the basics of Anko's style. Naruto slid under one of Hinata's right-hand strikes. His left hand flashed forward, barely diverting Hinata's left-hand strike from his heart to his shoulder. Both of Hinata's hands were not in reach to stop Naruto's devastating hit on a particularly sensitive spot, on Hinata's torso. Hinata collapsed to her knees, breathing rapidly. As this was only training, Naruto did not use his full power in the strike. If he did, he could have injured her severely. Anko's style was extremely brutal. One good hit could cripple or even kill his opponent. Now that Naruto is no longer a punching bag for you, Hinata, Anko said with a grin, you both can truly begin to learn. Both students groaned and nodded. You both need to be as fast as you possible can, Naruto, for your clones, and Hinata because speed is the centerpiece of your style. Isn't there a better way to increase our speed and agility than this? Hinata asked. Yeah, like training weights, Naruto said with enthusiasm. Anko nodded. True, training weights would make you much faster. However, this method has a very big weakness. Weakness? Naruto asked. Yes, Naruto. If you use training weights, your bodies will become much stronger and faster when you take them off. However, what happens when you must enter a battle and you have training weights on you? Both Hinata and Naruto shrugged in confusion. You take them off, Naruto ventured. Yes, Anko nodded. You take them off. But will the enemy not attack while you do? Even if you can release them instantly, there is another, bigger problem. What problem? When you take them off, your mind will become confused. It would be like you were having a different body. Your mind will need time to get accustomed to the new weight. Even if you have the time, you will never get top performance from it since your mind is accustomed to having a heavier body. You will win speed and strength, but you will lose something almost as important as your agility. You will lose precision. Naruto and Hinata nodded in understanding. Both my style and the gentle fist need precision and complete control over the body almost as much as they need speed. There is also the fact that you guys already train a lot. Weighting your body as well is too much for your young bodies. Because of that, training weights are out of the question. Understood. Yes, Anko-sensei, Hinata and Naruto answered. Besides that, Kyuubi cut over Naruto's disappointment, training weights would do little for you. Why is that, Kyuubi-chan? Naruto asked. Since we first talked, I have been repairing your body and getting it to perfect condition. You don't need training weights when you have me molding your body into the perfect form for your age. I see, Naruto said with a mental grin. Thank you, Kyuubi-chan. The two young students continued to spar, with Anko giving them instructions and correcting them from time to time. XXX. A week before the academy started, the Hokage visited the scene Naruto and Hinata practiced under Anko. Hinata and Naruto stopped and turned towards the old man. Naruto, Hinata, Anko-san, good morning. Hokage-sama. The three bowed slightly to the old man and Sarutobi raised an eyebrow when he saw how polite Naruto was behaving. I'm sorry to disturb your students Anko, but I need to talk to Naruto, Sarutobi explained. Of course, Hokage-sama. Anko motioned to Naruto to go with the old man. While they were walking towards the house, the Hokage was observing Naruto's clones which were performing the same slow motions at first, and then, doing them faster and faster. Shadow clones. And that is Anko's style, he observed. Yes, Hokage-sama. Anko-sensei was kind enough to teach it to me and Hinata, Naruto replied. And the shadow clones? Where did you learn that? That's a forbidden advanced technique. It is quite dangerous to perform due to the risk of chakra exhaustion. Yes, I know Hokage-sama, a friend taught it to me. A friend, the Hokage grunted. Once inside the house, Naruto casually made a clone silently and without any hand seals. That's a pretty impressive skill. Thanks. I've done them so many times that the technique is now second nature to me, Naruto explained. The clone returned with some tea and Naruto talked with the Hokage for a while about his training with Anko. Naruto, the Hokage said after some time, may I ask why you are so polite? A few weeks ago, you called me old man. Now, I'm Hokage-sama. What changed? As you know, I raised myself. I was unaware of many things, social customs, common courtesy and my impoliteness towards the leader of the village amongst other things. I was taught by my friend about these things. I see. I have some questions about your friend. My friend? Naruto asked. Yes, Naruto. The friend who taught you all these things. The Kyuubi? Naruto said after a long pause. Sarutobi's eyes widened at the casual fact. So you know, he sighed. She told me all about it, the night that man tried to murder me. We made a pact. A pact, the Hokage said carefully. May I ask what kind of pact? She helps me in any way she can and I allow her to have some creature comforts. I think you should talk to her personally, Naruto grinned cheerfully. Suddenly, behind Naruto's chair, another clone poofed into existence. The old man thought for a fraction of a second that it was another of Naruto's clones. Kyuubi. Yes, Hokage. I am Kyuubi, the girl with the red slit eyes replied. The old man's body tensed for a fight. Do not worry, human. I am not here to fight. The only thing I care for now is Naruto's happiness and safety. I have no desire to take revenge on you or your village. And even if I were, I am not capable of hurting you. I am only a clone and I can only come into existence if Naruto allows it. Is that true, Naruto? Yes. I am in complete control of her ability to manifest, Naruto replied. Naruto, the Hokage started to say carefully. You cannot trust her. She is a demon. The demon sat casually in the chair next to Naruto. What is that supposed to mean, human? You are a malevolent Biju. Sarutobi turned towards Naruto. They are dangerous creatures. She is responsible for the disaster that befell your. My what? Naruto silently wondered. Our village over a decade ago, the Hokage continued. She killed many of our people. How quick you are to point the finger, ninja of Konoha, Kyuubi replied. You, who murder the innocent for gold. Had your ninja not tried to bind me to their will, this would not have happened. Bind you? Indeed. That's not possible. You're lying, the Hokage said angrily. I assure you, I am speaking the truth, Kyuubi replied. That can't be. I would have known. Perhaps the fourth kept it secret. The Yondaime. Sarutobi shook his head. No. He would never have done such a thing. Perhaps, but you could be wrong. Kyuubi shrugged. Perhaps it was a rogue faction of your village. It might even be that those who attacked me were only pretending to be Konoha ninja. However, I doubt it. After their failed attempt, they retreated to Konoha. I see. Is this why you attacked the village? Kyuubi nodded. Such offense demanded retribution. So all that death and destruction was because you felt offended? The Hokage asked incredulously. Is this not the same thing you do? If an enemy village attacks you or something under your responsibility, do you not extract retribution? You should be thankful that I gave your village the kindness that put me in this situation. Kindness? The old man asked bitterly. You call your rampage kindness? Do you have any idea how many died? Foolish human. The responsibility for their deaths belongs only to the village leader, the Yondaime. Blame him, not me. What? The old man said outraged. He died for this village, he was a hero. He was a fool, Kyuubi sneered. Kyuubi-chan, are you sure this is wise? Naruto silently asked her. Are you not too aggressive? No. This is the perfect way to deal with him. What? The Hokage was seething. I will not have you insulting him. Tell me, human, if you have a house on the bank of a river and you know that it will flood in 3 days, what do? The Hokage was taken by surprise by the strange question and he calmed down, pondering the strange question. He decided to answer it. I take my possessions and family and climb to a high location. And if you know a great demon will arrive into your village in 3 days, what do? Tell me, human, why did you fight? I gave you plenty of time to flee, but you did not heed my warning. Your foolish villagers were still inside the village. Your ninja were protecting the walls. What were they protecting? The people or the property? They were protecting our home. Homes can be rebuilt. What did you think? That I would nest in the center of the village and you'd never get your land back? I would have destroyed some of your property, and then I would have left the same way the river recedes after a flood. Do you think I had nothing more productive to do than fight with pesky humans? We had to protect Konoha, replied Sarutobi. If you say so, I will speak of it no more. That is the past and the past cannot be changed. We should speak of the present and the future. Yes, the Hokage nodded thoughtfully. Kyuubi narrowed her eyes. I wish to speak of Naruto-kun's abusive treatment. An abuse he received from your entire village. That's not true. Not all the villagers are like that, the Hokage protested weakly. Yes, you are correct. Not all. The owner of the ramen stand and his daughter were always kind to Naruto. Hinata is a good friend and Anko is a good sensei. You have also helped Naruto on some occasions. There are some that are, shall we say, neutral towards Naruto, but that's all. They do not harm him, but they never tried to help or protect him. This is the extremely small minority. The rest of your villagers take any chance they can to harm or belittle him. From the day I was sealed inside Naruto, I had to cure him of poisons. I had to heal the injuries produced by bullying from other children, the abuse of the adults and the wounds of those who would injure or kill him. I had to correct the ravages of hunger and insufficient food. I will no longer tolerate such abuse. Do I make myself clear? She snarled at the silent old man. I always tried to protect Naruto, Sarutobi said. You failed. I know. I am sorry, Naruto. It's okay, old man, Naruto said with a smile. I know you always tried to protect me. Thank you, Naruto. That means a lot to me. You don't have to worry about me so much now. When I venture in the village, I go in disguise, so I'm safe and they don't overcharge me. The Hokage winced at Naruto's words. I'm also learning a lot from Anko sensei so I can protect myself. And Kyuubi-chan makes me eat healthy food every day. I am glad for that, Sarutobi said with a smile. Before I go, may I see your seal? It is located on your belly. Naruto nodded and showed the seal to the old man. The Hokage looked deeply at it for a few seconds and nodded. The seal is unchanged. Naruto, I must ask you to not reveal you can talk to Kyuubi and her ability to manifest to anyone besides people you have the utmost trust. If you do, you would put yourself in grave danger. Do you understand? Of course, Hokage-sama. Good. Now, I will take my leave, the Hokage said. I still have a lot of paperwork to sign. Good day, Naruto, Kyuubi-san. Hokage-sama. That went surprisingly well, Naruto said. Yes, Kyuubi agreed. I believe the Hokage will continue to protect you, but he will have Anko keep an eye on you. And you? Naruto asked. And me. I think I managed to convince him I meant no great harm to the village. Until now, he thought I was some kind of mindless bloodthirsty monster bent on slaughtering his village. XXX. Anko left earlier that day, and Naruto prepared dinner for three. While they ate, Naruto and Kyuubi told Hinata about their conversation with the Hokage. They retired in the bedroom and Naruto took Hinata in his arms and gave her a little kiss on her shoulder. On Hinata's other side was Kyuubi. Do you think the old man will tell Anko about you, Kyuubi? Yes, but we will see tomorrow, Kyuubi replied. And will they not try to harm you? Hinata asked. I do not think so, Kyuubi answered. Before now, the Hokage thought of me as an unreasonable monster. Now, he thinks there is a good chance I have no intention to harm his village if I am not provoked. He also saw the seal. He doesn't consider us too dangerous. I won't let them harm you, Hinata vowed. Kyuubi smiled and gently kissed the girl. I know, my dear. We protect each other. Kyuubi kissed the girl again and hugged her hard. You belong to me and I belong to you. I will always protect you. Hinata relaxed in the double embrace and fell asleep for a short, but blissful hour. When she woke up, she would have to leave her home and go back to her clan's home. How she wished she was free of that place, to fall asleep in their arms, to wake in their embrace. Every day. Forever. I love you, she whispered as she fell asleep. XXX. The next day, Anko came to breakfast as usual. Unlike most time, however, she was quiet and pensive. Anko-sensei, Naruto asked, is something wrong? I had an interesting talk with the Hokage yesterday, she said slowly. When I first started to train you, I informed him about it. I also told him of your academy teacher's behavior. He said that he was aware of it in some minor part, but that he could not do too much about it. He seemed to be glad I was going to train you. Anko paused for a few long moments. As I was saying, we had another long talk yesterday. He told me of his conversation with her, the Kyuubi. May I see her? Of course, Anko-sensei. Kyuubi materialized next to Naruto. Greetings, Anko-san. Kyuubi. Anko nodded at the apparition. You told the Hokage you have no intention to take revenge on the village and that you want to protect Naruto. Indeed. Can you prove that? Anko challenged. I cannot. However, that does not matter. The fact is that the seal is not broken and I see no way to break it. It appears I am imprisoned inside Naruto for eternity. I do not see any way to break my prison and gain my freedom. Anko nodded. The Hokage said that the seal is intact. But you can still take control of him for a short time or you can influence him. Influence him? Kyuubi inquired. To do what? For what reason? Anko just stared at Kyuubi. You think I have nothing better to do than kill pesky humans? Kyuubi replied. What would I have to gain? You are a demon, Anko said slowly, as if she was talking to a small child. I do not contest the fact that my kind can be a little aggressive when angered, or even that we indulge on acts of wanton destruction on occasion. However, we do not hold the monopoly on that. The fact is that most of my kind prefers their isolation and we rarely venture in places where humans live. We can sleep for years, and sometimes, even for centuries. Most of the time we battle with humans is when we are provoked or when we are sealed into humans to give them power for their numerous wars. Anko nodded. Fair enough. Just then, the door opened and Hinata stepped through it. She looked questioningly at Kyuubi as if to ask her what was going on. Anko, however, mistook the look. Hello, Hinata. This is. Anko floundered, trying to find a name and explanation for the strange red slit-eyed girl sitting in Naruto's kitchen. Kyuubi, Hinata said. You knew. Anko gasped, surprised by the admission. I've known for quite a long time. And you're not scared? Hinata asked. Yes. Of course not, Hinata nonchalantly said. Why should I? Well, she is a demon. Hinata's eyes narrowed dangerously. So what? She had finally found two people she loved and who loved her back. She did not care that they were a demon in her vessel. They loved her and that was all that mattered. The Hinata of a few weeks ago wouldn't have recognized the new Hinata. Gone was her constant stuttering. She was still shy, but she no longer cowered in front of her family. She no longer let their scoffs, sneers and ridicule bother her because Naruto and Kyuubi were there for her. She would protect them even from Anko, who could kick both her and Naruto's butts with ease. Hinata's stance subtly shifted into an offensive one. Anko saw it and raised an eyebrow. Relax, Hinata. Both the Hokage and I do not think there is any immediate threat. So you have no problem with us, and me specifically? Kyuubi asked. No, from what I heard from you, what the Hokage said when you talked with him and the way you helped Naruto, you're not that bad. Anko stopped for a moment and looked into the distance. I wish I had someone like you guys after Orochimaru, she muttered under her breath, thinking Naruto, Hinata and Kyuubi did not hear her. It would have been nice to have such friends. Naruto and Kyuubi, however, heard her, courtesy to their enhanced senses. Move your butts, my precious students. Time for training, Anko suddenly said with a cheerful smile. Kyuubi-san, would you mind coming? From what I understand, you are Naruto's mysterious friend that helped him so much. I think your input will be valuable. Of course, Anko-san. XXX. The day before Naruto and Hinata's first day at the academy, after Anko left, Kyuubi decided to teach them a cool technique. So what are you going to teach us? Naruto asked the red-haired girl. Kyuubi summoned into existence a scroll and opened it. This is the Fox summoning contract. You must sign it in your blood. Naruto and Hinata bit their thumbs and signed the scroll. Kyuubi took the scroll back and it vanished. She showed them the hand signs for summoning, and they began to practice. Some time later, both Hinata and Naruto managed to summon two small baby foxes. They're so cute, Hinata gushed. Yes, why don't you dispel them for now, Kyuubi said rapidly. You can go back, Naruto said to his summon. Hinata too, dismissed her summon, though with a little reluctance. I want you to practice this technique, especially you Naruto. With your reserves, you can even summon the boss if you get some practice. Also, just like any other technique, the more experienced you are, the less chakra you expend. Kyuubi-chan, won't the fox summons get upset if I summon them too much? Of course not, Naruto-kun. The more powerful and older ones might get irritated if you do, but they're a special case. The younger ones will always welcome the chance to get summoned. But, aren't they sometimes busy? Hinata worriedly asked. Did they really not mind getting summoned if they were busy with something else? Of course not, Kyuubi grinned. They can do both at the same time. Hinata looked confused, but Naruto nodded. When you summon, you actually make a type of shadow clone. The closest thing to it is Naruto's solid clone. The summoner provides the chakra and the summon provides the consciousness for the summon. When it is dispelled, the summon's memory is returned to its source, the same as Naruto's clones. Younger summons especially, enjoy the experiences they have in this realm. So you see, you don't have to worry about summoning them too often. One thing I want you to do is to summon them every day and put them to guard the property. That doesn't sound like fun, Hinata observed. I can see them coming here for adventures or for having fun, but I can't really see them doing something as boring as guard duty. Kyuubi nodded and smiled. That is true. However, since Naruto has so many jobs, he can afford buying them food. I assure you that such mutually beneficial relationships are highly prized by most summons. Naruto and Hinata arrived the first day of academy at the same time. They entered their classroom and headed towards the last row and took their seats in silence. They had decided to not hide their relationship completely because it would be too hard and one of them might slip. Instead, they would behave like friends and training partners. If Hinata is forbidden by her family to see me, we can find a way to get past it. But if they don't, there's no reason to hide too much. More students arrived, glancing around the classroom, greeting friends. Some stared for a few moments at Naruto in his dark mask and Anbu clothes, curious of their new classmate. However, most of the girls and one or two guys kept giving glances to a dark-haired boy. Two Chunin entered the classroom. Good morning, class. I am Yumino Iruka and I will be your sensei this year. This is Tuji Mizuki, my assistant. Now, let's take attendance. Iruka started calling names. Aburame Shino. He's a bug user, Naruto thought. He's a clan heir. They are the silent type. Just like you learned to be, Kyuubi replied. Naruto always had a lot of energy. He was always doing pranks or doing something loud and outrageous to get attention. However, since he met Kyuubi, that all changed. He still had a lot of energy, but that was all used for training or for the time he spent with Hinata and Kyuubi. He also didn't need attention. After all, he had two girls that loved him. It was not the village-wide respect he used to dream for, it was the love of only two, and Naruto was happy with it. Mentally, Naruto was no longer a child. In only a short time, he acquired the experience of many years. True, the clones that were used only for training did not give him life experience, but the others did. The clones he always sent to read were helping him gain book smarts. He learned many things from books, not only practical things, but also other things, about life. He learned even more from his solid clones, the ones that worked. It was nice to be normal. To not be looked at with annoyance, disgust or hatred. From them, he learned that he had a right to exist, to be happy. And the real Naruto learned from Kyuubi and Hinata how to be happy. Using the clones matured Naruto's mental age. He was now content with not being in the center of attention. At first, his solid clones changed their behavior. Submerging themselves into other personalities, they learned patience and control. These of course transferred to the true Naruto. Naruto was no longer the exploding ball of energy. He was a relatively calm and collected young man. Akamichi Choji, another clan heir, capable of enlarging his body size. Haruno Sakura, a civilian, Naruto thought in dismissal. From what I remember, she's a fangirl. Are you not too cold, Naruto? Kyuubi asked. A few months ago, you liked her. A few months ago, I was a moron, Naruto countered. And it's not like I saw her more than a few times. Hyuga Hinata, our beloved Hinata, capable of using her eyes to see chakra. Inuzuka Kiba, heir of the dog clan. Stronger and faster, enhanced senses. They bond with ninja dogs. Nara Shikamaru, heir to the Shadow User clan. Yamanaka Ino, very pretty, heir to the Yamanaka clan, who are strong in the mind arts. Capable of possessing ninja in battle or for interrogation. Uchiha Sasuke, last of the Uchiha. The Uchiha have their Sharingan eyes capable of copying techniques. The teacher took a small pause and looked at the still presence of Naruto. Uzumaki Naruto. Naruto raised a hand. Here. Iruka's face tightened for only a second, but Mizuki glowered at Naruto with a look full of hatred. And I, container of the Kyuubi. We should watch Mizuki. That man is dangerous. Kyuubi cautioned. What about Iruka? I think he is able to not let his emotions cloud his professional judgment. Iruka begun a boring lecture and Naruto zoned out in favor of talking to Kyuubi. There are 7 clan heirs, he mentally said. Yes, it's quite a coincidence. And all of them have some sort of special ability or bloodline, Naruto sighed. I wish I had one too. Kyuubi chuckled at the statement. It is true that they have an advantage over most students, but so do you. Due to my presence, you are stronger, faster, you can regenerate, you have enhanced senses, you have huge chakra reserves, enhanced mental abilities, and of course, you have me. If all these were a bloodline, it would be considered one of the stronger ones. I know, Naruto sighed. It would be nice if I could copy techniques with only a glance though. I have to train and train to learn a technique that an Uchiha can learn at a glance. That is true, but you forget that not all techniques can be copied by the Sharingan. And your way of learning has one huge advantage. The more you practice a technique, the more efficient you are. For learning the truly powerful techniques that require massive amounts of chakra, the Sharingan has the advantage. For the smaller, however, we are much better. Because weaker techniques require smaller amounts of chakra, you can make shadow clones for training. In only a week of training, you gain the training of several years. The advantage is that you can master the technique completely. This means no need for hand seals, no waste of chakra, speed. These things are impossible for the Sharingan to copy. So the Sharingan allows them to copy all techniques, but they still need training to master them completely. Indeed, Kyuubi agreed. Since training in our S-rank techniques usually require a lot of chakra, you will not be able to learn many of them, like an Uchiha can. However, you may be able to master a few of them and become proficient at a few of them. Your advantage lies not in learning many techniques, but in using them more efficiently. XXX. At noon, Naruto's class was on the academy's training grounds. Iruka shouted to get the students' attention. We'll have a few spars to gauge your skill. First. Quote. Naruto observed as Sakura and Ino were called first and started insulting each other. Ino pig. Forehead girl. The girls ran at each other and started slapping one another. Sasuke is mine. No, he's mine. You don't deserve him. Naruto shuddered at the display of incompetence. If Anko was in charge of their training, she'd rip their arms off and use them to slap the silliness out of them. Kyuubi chuckled. Before, you were just as incompetent. I know, Naruto sighed. But at least I didn't have competent teachers willing to teach me at the academy. They did. 2 minutes later, Iruka stopped the match and called 2 more students. Well, these guys aren't much better than Sakura and Ino, Naruto said. Next, Shikamaru and Choji, Iruka said. The 2 boys faced each other, Choji eating chips and Shikamaru with an annoyed expression on his face. I give up, Shikamaru said. What? Why? Iruka asked bewildered. You haven't even started. It's too troublesome, Shikamaru answered. Very well, Iruka sighed. The Nara clan was famous for their brilliance and for their laziness. Next, the teacher called Hinata and another girl. Hinata did not attack and only defended against the flimsy kicks and punches the girl tried to give her. After her training with Naruto and Anko, such hits were easy to defend against. Very good. Next, Shino and Sasuke. When Sasuke took a fighting stance, all the girls except Hinata shouted encouragements as if they were cheerleaders. Sasuke rushed to attack Shino. I don't see what's so special about him, Naruto said to Kyuubi. Is my little Naruto-kun jealous? I can kick his. All those fancy moves, they're wasteful, especially against someone like Shino. Indeed. Taijutsu is not one of the Aburame clan's good points, but it appears they developed a style good at defense. Though Sasuke managed to land a few hits, they were only glancing blows. For the audience, it looked like Sasuke was winning. In reality, if the battle continued, Sasuke would tire long before Shino. That's enough, Iruka called. You did good, both of you. Only 2 students remained. Naruto and Kiba, you're next. Kiba walked cockily in front of Naruto. So, you're new in our class. I heard you failed the exam. Hey, paired against the dobi of the class. This is going to be easy. Naruto smiled slightly under his mask. I am going to enjoy this. So, why are you wearing that mask and clothes? Kiba asked. I admit that it makes you look cool, but fancy clothes won't let you win in a fight against me. Begin, Iruka shouted. Kiba rushed towards Naruto and tried to give him a right-hand punch. Naruto's right hand flashed forward, grabbed Kiba's wrist, diverting the hit and jerked backwards, unbalancing Kiba's body. The boy started to fall forwards and Naruto drove his knee in his gut and stepped backwards. Kiba fell to his knees, gasping. Iruka looked impressed. Very good Naruto, Iruka said. That's all for today. Tomorrow, we'll have a weapons throwing test. Naruto nodded and headed towards a smiling Hinata, ignoring the stares and whispers of the other children. What was that about? Naruto asked Hinata a few minutes later, when they were alone. Shino, Kiba, and Sasuke are considered the strongest fighters in our class. They were surprised that he was defeated so easy, Hinata explained. I see. What about you? Aren't you among the strongest? Between the girls, Sakura and Ino have the highest scores. What? Even before we started training you were stronger than those two. Thank you Naruto-kun. I did not like to fight, so I'm not considered that strong. Did not like to fight or do not like to fight? Naruto said with a grin. While at first Hinata hated their spars, now Hinata got used to them and she actually begun to enjoy them, though she still hated to harm him. Hinata smiled warmly. If I can bring myself to harm you during our spars, I can certainly do the same to others. XXX. When Naruto arrived home, lunch was already prepared by a clone. Even if Naruto went to the academy, that did not mean he stopped his usual daily program. Anko was away on a mission, so Naruto continued his training, mostly finishing mastering the techniques Anko gave him. XXX. Next morning in the classroom, Hinata arrived before Naruto. She went into the back of the class and sat down in the same place she did the day before. A few minutes later, Ino entered the class. She put her school supplies on her desk and headed towards Hinata. Good morning, Hinata-san. Hinata nodded politely. Good morning Ino-san. Ino sat next to Hinata, on the seat where Naruto sat the day before. So, you know Naruto? Hinata nodded slightly. I met him a few weeks ago. I train with him on occasion, Hinata lied smoothly, not wanting to make suspicious the blonde girl on Hinata's true relationship with Naruto. Huh. He beat Kiba with only one hit. Not even Sasuke managed to beat Kiba so fast. I heard he didn't pass the academy exam. If he didn't pass, how come he's so strong? Naruto-kun used to have horrible chakra control. That's the main reason he failed, Hinata explained carefully, not wanting to enter into details that would bring to bear more questions. The blonde girl nodded. So he has better control now? Hinata smiled slightly. Yes. He found a sensei over the holiday and practiced a few exercises that help with chakra control. That's nice. But if he had so poor chakra control, why didn't his teachers from last year do something? Ino asked with a frown. Hinata's smile dropped and she sighed. Naruto and the teachers are not on good terms. Naruto did not ask and the teachers said nothing. Oh, so why is he wearing that mask? Does he have some horrible scars? Ino asked with relish. I don't know, Hinata shrugged annoyed by the question. Ino blinked once and peered at Hinata with curiosity. Say Hinata-san, I just noticed, but since we begun to talk, you haven't stuttered even once. I managed to cure it. Congratulations. Thank you, Ino-san. The door to the classroom opened and Sasuke entered. Ino saw her crush and stood up. Well, bye Hinata-san. I have to go and say hello to Sasuke-kun. A few minutes later, Naruto entered the class and headed towards Hinata. Just before Naruto passed Kiba's seat, the boy grinned at him. Morning Naruto, he said. Naruto stopped and turned towards Kiba. Morning Kiba, he said with a nod, before continuing towards his seat. Hinata looked at Naruto with a questioning look. I thought Kiba would be upset about yesterday. Yeah, me too. XXX. At noon, Iruka took his students outside. Like I said yesterday, we'll do target practice today. Class line up. Shino, you're first. One by one, the students fired 8 kunais at 8 targets. Only Sasuke and Naruto remained. Sasuke. Sasuke walked in front of the targets. He launched his weapons one after another, hitting the center of his targets without fail. Very good, Sasuke, Iruka said approvingly. Naruto, you're next. When Naruto and Sasuke passed each other, Sasuke gave him a superior, condescending smirk. What the hell was that? Naruto grumbled silently. I believe it's time to show them a bit of what you're capable of, Kyuubi said. Naruto grinned under his mask and drew 8 kunais, launching them at his targets simultaneously. Naruto hit his targets dead center, just like Sasuke did. The training his clones performed truly gave results. Before Kyuubi, he could barely hit the targets, now, he almost as good as Tenten. Well done, Naruto, Iruka said approvingly. You get bonus points for throwing all kunais at the same time. You're in first place between the boys. Sasuke is second and Shino is third. Ino is first among the girls. Hinata is second and Sakura is third. While most of the boys looked at Naruto approvingly, Sasuke and his fangirls looked quite disgruntled. XXX. Hinata finished her duel with her little sister Hanabi, by incapacitating her hands with 2 precise strikes. Hinata was always stronger than people thought. In the past, due to her unwillingness to harm others and her lack of